as soon as you decide, as soon as you start thinking that you are going to your next level, we literally bump into a million of our upper limits. You guys, these are things that we create and manifest within our lives and even in our bodies to try to keep us from going to a place that is quote unquote unsafe or unknown. Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. It's time for another quickie because there's always time to fit in inspiration. And I think this is the perfect time right about now, this time of year, about 2-3 weeks into the new year, that we start talking about upper limiting. If you have not read the book, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, which I can't wait to get him on the podcast. If you have not read this book yet, I highly suggest that this is the perfect time of year to go and revisit this book. Why? Because as soon as you decide, as soon as you start thinking that you are going to your next level, we literally bump into a million of our upper limits. You guys, these are things that we create and manifest within our lives and even in our bodies to try to keep us from going to a place that is quote unquote unsafe or unknown. And Joe Dispenza says that we would rather cling to suffering than take a risk in opportunity, right? We'd rather cling to suffering then go and find out what's possible out there. And the thing that I want you to remember is that you are already living in your worst case scenario. You might have a great life, but if you know that you are here to do more, if you are unsatisfied with where you're at right now, it's okay to be grateful while being unsatisfied with where you're at because you know you have more to give or more things that you want to do. But if you know this, I want you to realize that right now you're probably bumping into a lot of upper limits. Now, what are some of the forms that they come in? I know for me, here's a few I'm going to name. Procrastination, getting sick, going back to the things and the people that validated me, all the things going wrong at once, and sabotaging myself. So let's go over those again. Upper limits can come in these forms. They can come in multiple forms. They can come in, you name it. Anything that's trying to stop you could potentially be a form of you upper limiting yourself. These are things that are self-inflicted that we're viewing as external, but are actually internal because the external is always going to come at us no matter what. Life is always going to come at you, but the life that you live is the result of how you decide to go through the things that life hands you. All right. So procrastination, getting sick, going back to the things and the people that validated you, all the things going wrong at once, and sabotaging yourself through food, alcohol, picking fights, you name it. So when we think about upper limits, what you have to realize is the reason that they're coming is simply because you are on the verge of becoming a bigger version of yourself. And everything in your life is like, what's wrong with it here? Why can't we just stay here? Why would you want to go into unsafety? Why would you go do these new things that can scare the shit out of you and change your relationships and change your life? What if you fail? What if you fail? What if people don't like you? Right? So this is where we're like, our brain is so freaking smart that it's going to pull from every past experience you've ever had, which by the way, up till this point, you probably you have more negative experiences most likely than you do positive experiences. So the one that your brain is most trained for right now is to pull from the negative. So whenever you start to spot these things, like you're procrastinating, you didn't give yourself a schedule on Sunday night. It doesn't mean you still can't do it. It means that you need to sit down and say, okay, I'm observing that I'm upper limiting myself. I know that you're afraid. This is me talking to me, by the way. I say this to myself. I say this to inner me, inner child. I'm like, I know that you're afraid, But even taking these risks in the unknown is going to feel so much better as soon as you do them than sitting here in this feeling of not becoming the person that you know you're here to be, than sitting in this feeling of regret, than sitting in this feeling of I wish, than sitting in this feeling of I know why I'm here and I know there's more here for me. So whenever you start to spot them, all you have to do is to observe it and say, I know, I see you. I see what I'm trying to do to myself, and I'm not going to choose this, and take an action. So around procrastination, something that I have done this year is I've gotten much better at getting on a schedule. I have designated days for designated things. And so I know when I look at my week that I know every Thursday I'm going to be podcasting. I know that every Tuesday and Wednesday, the second week of the month, is my content days. I have those down. I know that every Tuesday I'm going to be filming other content. And I know what my admin days are, and I know what some of my free creative days are. So I'm still working a bit on some of my creative times, but that's the thing about this is you're going to put a schedule down and it's not going to fully work. So then you're going to adjust the schedule, and then you're going to adjust it again and adjust it again until you have a schedule that feels really good. And trust me, that schedule is not going to feel good for long, and you'll have to adjust it again. And this has been one of the most important things for me for procrastination is knowing that I must get this thing done in this box that I have given myself. Because if it spills over, I'm now into another day. I'm cutting off my option of, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. I can't do it tomorrow because tomorrow is a day that I'm doing something different. And my brain needs to be focused on that. This is the biggest gift that you can give to yourself around if you're someone who can procrastinate or putting things off or, walks around every day feeling like, oh, I just need to get that done. And you feel bad you can't enjoy your downtime because you just feel like you should be doing that other thing. When everything has a compartment, you don't have to feel that way anymore. You can just enjoy your downtime.
Hey y'all, if you didn't know, Earn Your Happy is now a part of the Growth Day Podcast Network. This is so exciting to me because I have been looking for a really good home for the show for, I can't even tell you, years, literally. And now I've finally been able to come together and collaborate with other people who have incredible shows, and I want to share them with you. One of the shows is Motivation with Brendon Bouchard. And you guys, if you don't know about the beginning of my career, I literally started with Brendon Bouchard's work. It's how I launched one of my very first online courses and membership sites, was because he gives so much advice that you can integrate and implement immediately. And that's what you're going to get on the show. Not just motivation, but you're going to learn exactly how to get your stuff out in the world. And not just that, but Brendon runs in the most incredible group of humans who are really doing the thing out in the world that you want to be doing. So go check it out. Go subscribe to Motivation with Brendon Bouchard. I promise you, this is going to be one of those shows that no matter when you tune in, you're going to get value. Like, it's not one of those that you're like, God, I listened for 30 minutes and I didn't get what I wanted. Like, from the beginning, you're going to get something that changes your life or changes your business. So go check it out. Motivation with Brendon Bouchard. I know you're going to love it. I'm obsessed.
Now, I swear to you, every January lately, it's so weird, you guys. I am sick on New Year's like clockwork. So instead of me having this like killer week in, first week in January, I find that I'm typically not feeling good and I'm laying low and trying to give myself grace and rest. And it's really interesting because this was the first year that I was like, oh my gosh, I don't need to be running like a maniac the first week of January. I have all year and I make sure that I am an action taker. So this 1 week out of this does not actually matter. And I'm really curious if I actually get sick next year, because I did kind of get this lesson that like, I always think, oh my God, I just have to be so gung-ho and all my ducks have to be in a row. Not if you're continually taking action, you guys. It kind of is just another month where, yes, you're excited and yes, you want to plan new things, But we don't have to hold ourselves to some crazy standard for the first month of January. If you're an action taker, the first week of January, if you're an action taker. So I'll have to try to remember to report back next year. All right, let's talk about this one. Going back to the things and the people that validated you. When I had a fitness career and my career, I had done all of the figure competitions and bikini competitions. And for those of you that don't know, I competed for about 4 to 5 years. And on that last year of my career competing, I actually ended up winning 2 world titles. So I won a world championship in bikini, and then I won a world championship. I won Ms. Bikini Universe and Ms. Figure Universe in the same exact show, which had never, ever been done before. So I'm telling you this because at this time, I was obviously deep in my fitness career. It was my entire life. It was the very first thing that I had ever gotten attention for in my life for completing. And I want to remind you, I was not educated. I did not graduate high school. I had never gotten attention for anything around sports. I wasn't in them, you guys. It was the very first time I got outside attention from anyone. So this was like my validation, right? I was like attached to this thing. I didn't know who I was without it. I had started getting all of these fitness covers on fitness magazines. And truly for me, that was like, that's who I was. And so when I started to want to get into public speaking and personal development and writing books, when I was detaching from my fitness career, I can't tell you how many times, and I did it a few times, you guys, that as I was going over into being a beginner and not being validated in this other world and not feeling good and not having all these people tell me how amazing I am, that all of a sudden this faucet of accolades shuts off and it's crickets. What do you think you want to do? Your upper limits want to run back to the thing that you're good at, go focus over there, go spend some time over there, and it wants to get that dopamine hit again of people saying, oh my God, you're so amazing. How do you do it? Blah, 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 all the things. And my money was tied to this as well. So I was selling programs and memberships based on fitness. So for me to like merge into another world actually felt quite insane. I didn't know who I was. I felt depressed a lot. I was anxious. I felt worthless a lot of the times because I was detaching from everything that I knew and how I knew to get attention. And we all need attention, you guys. It's not everything that we need. We all need positive attention. We all need to feel good about what we're doing. But when we make it everything, that's when we're really going to lose everything because you evolve. I'm not going to stay that person. And so because I kept going back, I wasn't evolving and I wasn't feeling good. So I felt trapped moving forward and I felt trapped going backward, going back into that life. So I was upper limiting myself to become the person I came here to be on my next chapter because I needed those dopamine hits and that validation. So where are you going back in your life over and over again? I literally remember like my career was totally booming now in personal development. And, I had an event and I had all these different programs in the personal development space. And it's like, I still went back to go do a couple magazine covers, which you're like, no big deal. But for fitness, it's a big deal because you have to prep for so long and so much of your focus and your diet and your training and time around how long it even takes to go and fly and shoot a cover and all the things. I lost months and months of moving forward in my other career because I went backward because I wanted to go and get that other validation again. And in the long run, it was fine. And yes, it was great to kind of like put that out and get those eyes for this other portion of my career. But I don't really know if it crossed over because the people I was attracting for that weren't necessarily the people that I wanted to move forward with and what I was going to be doing. So where are you going backward because you want to go back for that validation because you're upper limiting yourself? And it's okay. We all do it. And you know what? Sometimes, just like I shared, it can be good for the grand scheme, but ultimately we're probably taking our foot off the gas to go somewhere backward to make us feel good. Okay, all the things going wrong. I don't even think I have to say anything around this. Sometimes it can actually feel like, oh my God, everything is going wrong in my life right now when I just made this plan. Once in a while, it's to give you more time to think. Once in a while, all of those things that can sidetrack you, I've looked back and been like, holy crap, I'm so glad that those things happened because it gave me more time to flesh this out. And now I'm so clear that I'm going to do this instead. Or it's either for that, to give you a moment to breathe, or it's to make you stronger. Because as soon as you move into the thing that you want to do, trust me, your plate does not get less full and you do not have less challenges in your life. You actually have more. So you get to start your training early. I always think when all the things go wrong, God is like, okay, I see you. I know what you want to do and I know who you're here to be. So we need to up your training regimen, right? Just like in fitness, when I wanted to win competitions, I started training differently. I started lifting heavier weights. I started doing things more frequently. And that's because you now have your eye on a different prize. So you need to be the person who can manage a lot of challenges at once. And in the beginning, you're not equipped for it. So it feels insane, but it's eventually going to feel amazing because you're going to expand. I promise. It's how you perceive the challenges that are the most challenging thing. If you can look at it like, this is for me. This is for me. I'm becoming the person who can get through this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm getting the lessons faster. I'm so proud of myself. Wow. I did amazing today. I'm so proud of myself. You have to learn to be proud of yourself and say it to yourself every day, multiple times, especially when you go to bed. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of you for getting through this. All right. Sabotaging yourself. This is a big one too. Some of the things around sabotaging yourself, maybe it's food, maybe it's drinking, maybe it's, going back to old friends, flings, Netflix, whatever. And these are just the things that you have to recognize as well. And it doesn't mean that you have to get rid of everything all at once. It just means that we need to start talking to ourselves again, right? That inner child or that person that wants to go to the next level. It's like taking a minute and going, okay, I know that you're afraid. I know that you're scared, but you don't have to get your comfort through alcohol or through food or through binging Netflix. Like, why don't we go for a walk? And why don't we put something positive in our ears or call a friend or call somebody else and see how you can help them? The most important thing that you can do when you are self-sabotaging is get outside of self. Get outside of yourself. What's the fastest way you can do that? Go for a walk. Ask somebody else what sort of help they need and help them. Otherwise, our world shrinks. When we are only thinking of ourselves, right? When we're only thinking of our fears, we actually contract what we're able to see. We contract what we perceive in our life. And when we look outward, when we look outside of ourselves at other people or at nature or at things we're grateful for, we expand. We expand what we're capable of. We expand our energy. And that is when you're going to continue to move forward. Okay, you guys, I'm so grateful for you. I don't know where you're upper limiting yourself, but I'm sure that you are because we are humans and this is what we do. So I think it's more fun just to notice it and be like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Isn't that so cute? I'm so good at that. But I'm going to be better at catching it and recognizing it. All right, sending you so much love. And until next time, earn your happy.
Hey, I know if you're listening to this podcast that you have big dreams and big goals. And one of the things that can really stop you is struggling with your marketing. Trust me, I have been there. Are you using 10 different systems just to build your online business? Then I want you to try Kajabi. Kajabi helps you build your web pages, set up funnels, and sell your courses, content, coaching, or communities. You've been hearing me talk a lot about funnels on this podcast and the importance of your email list. You can get a free trial at kajabi.com. That's Kajabi.com. I've talked about Kajabi before, but here's something that's super cool and new. They just rolled out an AI assistant for creating your online course curriculum. And this means you just type in a topic that you want to create on a course or webinar and bam, it just generates a sample outline for you. It takes a ton of the hard work away. Of course, you're going to customize it to be your own, but this really helps you get over the struggle of how in the world to start which is where most people stop. If you're like me, starting is always the hardest part, and that's what makes Kajabi so popular. They've made it easier for creators to build web pages, build courses, build coaching programs, build membership sites, build checkout pages, and build email funnels. So if you're struggling with any of those, you got to go check it out. Go to Kajabi.com. Kajabi was really the first all-in-one system and is trusted by over 100,000 creators. I think that's good enough for me. Also has influencers and marketers who use this. And now their smart AI platform makes it easy to take what you know and turn it into an online course and business. Go start building with a free trial at Kajabi.com. That's Kajabi.com.
Hey y'all, I'm so excited to share with you, Earn Your Happy is now part of Growth Day Podcast Network. A bunch of us are coming together to bring more growth to the world and support shows and brands that we truly believe in. And one of my friends is also on the network, and I'd love for you to go subscribe to his show. You guys, Trent Shelton has the most incredible podcast. It's called Straight Up with Trent Shelton, and it's going to remind you that you are built for this. I have heard Trent speak in person multiple times. I've listened to his podcast a ton. He's coming on the show, and I literally cannot wait because this man just spits straight fire. It is like truth that goes to your core and makes you take action right away. If you want one of those podcasts that when you're just out on a walk, you can't help but want to start running and run through a wall in your life, this is the show to go listen to. So you guys, make sure that you go subscribe to the show, Straight Up with Trent Shelton. You're going to love it.